Your wife is not dear to you. Your heart has never been tied to her.
Odogwu, we want a woman you will love. Chief Chidubem froze. You must find an innocent girl, pure-hearted, untouched by your darkness, and you must genuinely fall in love with her. Only then can she be offered, because you must sacrifice what you truly hold dear. Chidubem's voice shook. Why? Why now? The deeper the love, the stronger the wealth, and your time is running out. The masquerade stepped back. Go, find her, love her, and bring her on the next moon. The wind howled. His fate shifted. Hello, my dear friends, and welcome once again to Tales by Larinzy. This is the home of powerful stories, stories that teach, warn, inspire, thrill, and guide us in the journey of life. If you're new here, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means the world to me and helps these stories reach even more people. Chief Chidubem had ducked into a small art shop to escape a sudden rainstorm. The shop was tucked between two larger buildings, the kind of place a man like him would normally never notice. Inside, surrounded by paintings of sunsets and village scenes, she stood at the counter, carefully wrapping a canvas for a customer. She wore a simple yellow blouse and jeans. No makeup. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail that swung gently as she moved. When she looked up and smiled at him, a smile with no recognition, no awe, no calculation, something in his chest shifted. "Good afternoon, sir. The rain caught you too?" Her voice was warm like honey in tea. For the first time in years, Chief Chidubem forgot his prepared words. Yes. She laughed softly. "You can wait here until it passes." "Thank you." As the rain drummed against the windows, they talked. She told him about the paintings, which ones she'd created herself, which were from local artists she was helping to promote. She spoke with passion about color and light, about capturing emotions on canvas. "This one," she said, pointing to a painting of a child flying a kite, "I call it Before Life Gets Heavy, because there's a moment in childhood when everything still feels possible, you know?" Chief Chidubem stared at the painting, feeling something he couldn't name. "Do you remember that moment?" she asked gently. "When everything felt possible." He wanted to say no. He wanted to say that moment never existed for him, but instead he found himself remembering. He was 7 years old, helping his mother sell oranges by the roadside, and she had promised him that one day he would be great. I think I do," he whispered. Onyinye smiled at him, and it was the most genuine smile he'd received in decades. When the rain stopped, he didn't want to leave. "What's your name?" he asked. "Onyinye. It means God's gift." She tilted her head. "And you?" He hesitated. If he said Odogwu, she would know. Everyone knew. "Chidubem," he said quietly. "Just Chidubem." "Nice to meet you, just Chidubem." She laughed, and the sound made something warm bloom in his chest. He came back the next day, and the next, and the next. At first he told himself it was for the ritual. He needed to appear interested, to build trust, to make her believe in him. But somewhere between their third conversation and their 10th, the pretending became real. Onyinye had a way of seeing past his walls. One evening, as they sat on the bench outside her shop watching the sunset, she asked him, "Why do you always look so sad?" "I'm not sad," he said automatically. "Yes, you are." She turned to face him, her eyes searching his. "Even when you smile, your eyes are sad, like you're carrying something very heavy." Chief Chidubem felt his throat tighten. No one had ever seen that. Not his wife, not his children, not his business partners. But this girl, this simple, beautiful girl, had seen straight through him. Maybe I am, he admitted quietly. She reached over and placed her hand on his, a touch so gentle it almost hurt. You don't have to carry it alone, you know. For a moment, Chief Chidubem forgot who he was, forgot what he had done, forgot what he was planning to do. For that one moment, he was just a man being comforted by a woman who cared, and it broke something inside him. 3 weeks after they met, Onyinye invited him to her small apartment for dinner. Nothing fancy, just jollof rice and chicken. Her apartment was tiny. One room with a kitchen corner, a small bed, and paintings everywhere. But it felt like home in a way his mansion never had. As she cooked, she sang. Chief Chidubem sat at her small table and watched her, mesmerized. "You're staring," she said without turning around, her voice playful. "I'm admiring," he replied. She glanced over her shoulder and smiled. "Admiring what? My terrible singing? Your joy?" She turned fully now, wooden spoon in hand, her expression softening. "Joy is a choice, Chidubem. I choose it every day, even when things are hard." "How?" The question came out more desperate than he intended. "How do you do that?" She walked over and sat beside him. "I had a moment, a few years ago, when I thought about giving up. Life was hard. My parents had died. I had nothing. I was sleeping on friends' floors, eating once a day." She paused, her eyes distant. "One morning I woke up and saw the sunrise through a window, and I thought, if the sun can rise after the darkest night, so can I." Chief Chidubem felt tears prick his eyes. "Since then," she continued, "I decided that no matter what happens, I will find something to be grateful for, even if it's just the fact that I'm breathing." She smiled at him, that warm, devastating smile. "And right now I'm grateful for you." That was the moment, the exact moment Chief Chidubem fell, completely, irreversibly, in love. Not because she was beautiful, though she was, not because she was kind, though she was, but because, for the first time in his life, someone saw him, the real him. The weeks that followed were the happiest of Chief Chidubem's life. He started coming to see her not just in the evenings, but in the mornings too. He would bring breakfast, akara and pap from the woman who sold them by the roadside, because Onyinye said they reminded her of her mother. They would sit on her small balcony and watch the city wake up. "Tell me something you've never told anyone," she said one morning. Chief Chidubem hesitated. "I'm afraid," he admitted finally. "Of what?" "Of losing myself completely, of becoming someone I can't recognize." Onyinye took his hand. "Then don't. Stay yourself. The you I see right now, gentle, thoughtful, real. Stay that person." "If only you knew," he thought. "If only you knew who I really am." But he said nothing. He just held her hand and prayed that somehow, impossibly, he could become the man she believed him to be. One afternoon, Onyinye showed him a painting she'd been working on. It was of two hands reaching for each other across a dark space, with light breaking through between them. "It's called Connection," she said softly. "I painted it thinking of us." Chief Chidubem stared at the painting, emotion overwhelming him. "Why?" he whispered. "Because you were alone in the dark, and I was alone in the dark. But somehow, we found each other." She looked at him, her eyes shining. "And now there's light." He pulled her into his arms and held her, his face buried in her hair. "I don't deserve you," he whispered. "Maybe not," she said gently. "But love isn't about deserving. It's about choosing. And I choose you, Chidubem. Every day I choose you." In that moment, Chief Chidubem made a decision. He would break the covenant. He would lose everything, his wealth, his status, his name. But he would keep her. He would keep this love. He would finally be free. Chief Chidubem went home that night with hope burning in his chest for the first time in years. He would go to the masquerade. He would end the covenant. Whatever price he had to pay, he would pay it. Onyinye was worth it. This feeling, this overwhelming, terrifying, beautiful feeling was worth everything. He lay in bed, unable to sleep, imagining a future. A small house. Onyinye's paintings on the walls, simple meals, quiet mornings, a life built on truth instead of lies. He could see it so clearly. He could almost touch it. And for the first time since he'd made that terrible covenant, Chief Chidubem prayed, not to the masquerade, but to God. "Please," he whispered into the darkness, "give me a chance. Let me make this right. Let me love her the way she deserves to be loved." But the next morning, everything changed. The masquerade sent him a message through a dream. The time had come. The covenant demanded renewal, and this time they wanted her, the one he loved. Chief Chidubem sat in his car outside Onyinye's apartment, his hands shaking on the steering wheel. He had two choices: refuse the masquerade, lose everything, but keep Onyinye safe, or fulfill the covenant one last time, keep his wealth, and destroy the only person who had ever truly loved him. Every fiber of his being screamed to protect her. But the fear, the deep, primal fear of losing everything he'd built, was stronger. He told himself he would find another way. He told himself he could protect her afterward. He told himself 1,000 lies. But in the end, fear won. 3 nights later, Chief Chidubem took Onyinye to a special place. A secluded resort, he told her, where they could spend time away from the city. She was so excited. She packed a small bag, humming as she chose which dress to bring. "I've never been to a resort," she said, her eyes bright. "This is like a dream." Chief Chidubem forced himself to smile, even as his heart was shattering. In the car, she held his hand and talked about their future. "I've been thinking," she said softly. "Maybe we could open a small gallery together. You could handle the business side, and I could handle the art. We'd make a good team, don't you think?" "Yes," he whispered. "We would. And maybe, one day, we could have a family. Not a big one, just—" She laughed, embarrassed. "I'm getting ahead of myself." "No," Chief Chidubem said, his voice breaking. "You're not." She squeezed his hand, and he wanted to die right there. When they arrived at the location, not a resort, but the abandoned estate, Onyinye's smile faded. "Chidubem, where are we?" It's just nearby. Come, let me show you." But as they walked deeper into the compound, she stopped. "Something's wrong." Her voice was small, afraid. "Chidubem, I want to go home." He turned to face her, and she saw something in his eyes that made her step back. "Chidubem." "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so sorry." The masquerade emerged from the shadows. Onyinye screamed. She tried to run, but Chief Chidubem caught her arm. "Please," she sobbed, looking at him with complete betrayal. "Please, Chidubem, what's happening? What are you doing?" "I have to," he said, tears streaming down his face. "I have to. You said you loved me." "I do," he cried. "I do love you. That's why." But he couldn't finish. Because the masquerade descended upon her, and her screams filled the night. Chief Chidubem stood there, frozen, listening to the woman he loved beg for mercy, and he did nothing. When it was over, Onyinye lay unconscious on the ground. The masquerade vanished. Chief Chidubem knelt beside her, shaking her gently. "Onyinye, Onyinye, please." Her eyes fluttered open, but they were empty. completely empty. Onyinye. She stared past him, her lips moving soundlessly. He lifted her carefully and drove her back to the city, leaving her near a hospital where she would be found. Then he drove home and sat in his mansion, his wealth surrounding him like a tomb. The next day, his bank accounts overflowed. His businesses boomed. Everything he touched turned to gold. But when he closed his eyes, all he saw was Onyinye's face, the way she'd looked at him before the masquerade took her. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the love that had turned to ash. A week later, he saw her for the first time. She was wandering downtown barefoot, her dress torn, talking to herself. Chief Chidubem followed her from a distance, his heart breaking with every step. He wanted to approach her, but he couldn't. What would he say? How could he explain? So he just watched, day after day, as the woman he loved wandered the streets, a ghost of who she'd been. Sometimes she would stop and stare at couples holding hands, and she would smile, a broken, confused smile, and whisper, "Love, love is choosing." Every day. Those were her words, the words she'd said to him, and now they were all she had left. Chief Chidubem returned to his mansion each night and wept until he had no tears left. His wealth meant nothing. His power meant nothing. Without her, he was nothing. And that was when he finally understood. He hadn't sacrificed Onyinye to gain wealth. He'd sacrificed himself. The moment he betrayed her, the moment he chose fear over love, he had destroyed the only good thing in him, and no amount of money could ever bring it back. When the time came, he was torn apart inside, but fear won over love, and he followed the ritual instructions. The next week, she vanished. Nobody knew how. Nobody knew why. All that was seen later was Onyinye, once vibrant and full of life, now wandering the streets, talking to herself, her mind completely gone. Each time Chief Chidubem drove past and saw her like that, his chest tightened, his throat closed, his heart broke. He began parking far away just to watch her from a distance. Some days she didn't recognize him. Other days she whispered his name like a memory slipping through her fingers. It was the first time he saw the full weight of what he had done, and it shattered him. He stopped eating, stopped sleeping, stopped speaking. His wealth came in abundance that month, bigger than ever. But for the first time, wealth disgusted him. He no longer felt like Odogwu. He felt like a monster. One afternoon, as he watched Onyinye dancing barefoot in the rain, muttering to herself, something inside him snapped. "This is my punishment," he whispered. He got into his car and drove straight to the mountain church. Chief Chidubem fell to his knees before Prophet Ejike. "I used someone I truly love," he cried. "I destroyed her. I destroyed myself. Help me." Prophet Ejike looked at him calmly. "You broke the most sacred law of darkness. Never love what you plan to sacrifice, because love creates a spiritual tie stronger than any ritual. Her pain will always haunt you." Chief wept. "I want freedom." "You can be delivered," the prophet said, "but you must face the consequences. And Onyinye, her story is not finished yet." That was when the real doom began. Prophet Ejike stood before Chief Chidubem, his eyes heavy with both pity and warning. "You want freedom," the prophet repeated slowly. "But freedom from darkness is not like removing a garment. It is like peeling back layers of your own skin." Chief Chidubem nodded desperately, tears streaming down his face. "I don't care. I'll do anything." The prophet gestured to a wooden bench. "Sit, and tell me everything from the beginning." And so, for 3 hours, Chief Chidubem confessed. He told the prophet about his humble beginnings, how he had been a struggling businessman, How he met the masquerade for the first time. The covenant was simple. Every month bring a woman, not to kill her, not to harm her physically, but to drain her essence, her joy, her clarity, her future. In exchange, his businesses would flourish. His name would be feared and respected. Wealth would chase him like the wind. And it worked, Chief whispered bitterly. Within 6 months, I became Odogwu. Prophet Ejike leaned back, his face grim. Do you know what you were feeding? Chief shook his head. A spirit of consumption. It is ancient. Older than this town, older than your grandfather's grandfather. It does not eat flesh, it eats destinies. Every woman you brought was not just losing her mind, she was losing her future, her purpose, her reason for existing. And you were trading that for money. Chief Chidubem buried his face in his hands. What have I done? What many men have done before you, the prophet said. But you are the first I have seen who loved his sacrifice, and that changes everything. That night, Chief Chidubem returned home. His mansion felt cold. His wife Udochi barely looked at him anymore. His children had grown distant, sensing something dark in their father, even if they couldn't name it. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. And then he heard it, a soft voice, singing. Chidubem, Chidubem. He sat up sharply, his heart pounding. The voice was coming from outside. He walked to the window and looked down into the compound. There, standing barefoot in the moonlight, was Onyinye. Her clothes were torn, her hair was wild, but she was singing a song they used to sing together. A silly tune she had made up one evening when they cooked together in her small apartment. Chief Chidubem's chest tightened. He rushed downstairs, but when he reached the compound, she was gone. Only her footprints remained in the dust. This continued for 7 nights. Every night she appeared. Every night she sang. Every night she vanished before he could reach her. His security guards saw nothing. His wife heard nothing. It was only him. By the 8th night, Chief Chidubem could not take it any more. He drove to where he knew she often wandered, near the old market where mad people gathered at night. And there she was, sitting on the ground, drawing shapes in the dirt with her finger. He approached slowly. Onyinye. She looked up. For a brief moment, her eyes cleared. You, she whispered. Chief Chidubem knelt beside her, tears falling freely. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She tilted her head like a child trying to remember something. You loved me, she said softly. I did. I do. Then why did you break me? Chief Chidubem had no answer. Onyinye's eyes clouded again, and she went back to drawing in the dirt. He sat there beside her for hours, weeping silently, until the sun began to rise. Prophet Ejike called Chief Chidubem to the church 3 days later. You are being haunted, the prophet said bluntly. Not by a demon, not by a curse, by love. Chief Chidubem frowned. Love? Yes, the love you had for her created a spiritual bond, and now, even though her mind is broken, her spirit is searching for you. She is trying to remind you of who you were when you were with her, the version of you that was almost human. Chief Chidubem felt his throat tighten. Can she be healed? Prophet Ejike was silent for a long moment. Healing her will require breaking the covenant entirely, and breaking the covenant will cost you everything. Everything. Your wealth, your status, your name. The masquerade will come for what it gave you. You will return to the man you were before. Or worse. Chief Chidubem felt fear grip his chest, but then he remembered Onyinye's eyes, the way she had looked at him with such trust, the way she had laughed at his terrible jokes. The way she had made him feel real. "I'll do it," he said quietly. Prophet Ejike studied him carefully. "Are you sure?" "I have to. I destroyed her. I have to try to bring her back." The prophet nodded slowly. "Then we begin tonight. But you must understand something, Chidubem. Breaking this covenant may cost more than your wealth. It may cost your life." Chief Chidubem swallowed hard. "If my death can restore her, then so be it." Prophet Ejike's plan was not simple. "You cannot just walk away from a covenant of this magnitude," he explained. "It has roots, deep roots. We must pull them up one by one." The first step was public confession. Chief Chidubem's face went pale. "Public? Yes, you must confess before the people of ODòGWÚ. You must tell them what you have done. Not all of it. Some things are too dark to speak aloud. But enough. Enough that your pride is broken. Enough that your name is stripped of its false glory." Chief Chidubem thought of his reputation, his businesses, his respect. He thought of how people would look at him. But then he thought of Onyinye, barefoot and broken, singing in the moonlight. "When?" he asked. "This Sunday, at the town square." Sunday came like a storm. Word had spread quickly that Odogwu himself would make a public announcement. Some thought he was running for political office. Others thought he was donating a new hospital. No one expected what actually happened. Chief Chidubem stood on the platform, dressed simply. No gold chains, no expensive agbada. Just a plain white shirt and black trousers. He looked smaller somehow. The crowd was massive, thousands of people. He took the microphone, his hands trembling. "My name is Chidubem Anaso," he began. "You know me as ODGWU. But today I stand before you as a man who has done terrible things." A murmur rippled through the crowd. "I have used women," he continued, his voice breaking. "Not in the way you think. I have fed on their futures, their joy, their sanity, to build my wealth." Gasps erupted. "I made a covenant with darkness, and every woman who went mad after being with me. It was because of me. I destroyed them." The crowd was in chaos now. Some people shouted curses, some women wept, some men looked at him with disgust. But Chief Chidubem kept speaking. "There is one woman in particular. Her name is Onyinye. I loved her, and I sacrificed her anyway. I am the reason she wanders the streets, broken. And I am here today to say, I am sorry. I am ending this. I will lose everything to make this right." Silence fell. No one knew what to say. Prophet Ejike stepped forward and placed a hand on Chief Chidubem's shoulder. "This man has begun his journey of repentance," the prophet said loudly. "He will face consequences. But he will also seek restoration, not just for himself, but for those he has harmed." The crowd remained silent. Chief Chidubem stepped down from the platform, his face soaked with tears, and for the first time in years, he felt something close to relief. That very night, everything began to collapse. Chief Chidubem returned home to find his wife Udochi packing her bags. "You are a monster," she said coldly. "I always knew something was wrong with you, but I never imagined this. Udochi, please. Don't," she raised a hand. "I am taking the children. We will never use your cursed money again." And she left. Within 3 days, his biggest business partner pulled out of their deal. His bank accounts were suddenly frozen due to suspicious activity. His fleet of cars began breaking down one after another. His mansion started developing cracks in the walls, as if the foundations were giving way. It was as if an invisible hand was dismantling his entire empire. Prophet Ejike had warned him. "The masquerade will come for you," the prophet had said. It will try to take back everything, and more. 1 week after his confession, Chief Chidubem sat alone in his massive house. No wife, no children, no money, no respect. Just him and the echoes of his choices. And then at midnight he heard the sound. A deep drum beat. Boom, boom, boom. He looked out the window. There, standing in his compound, was the masquerade. Chief Chidubem's blood ran cold. The masquerade stood perfectly still, its raffia garments swaying even though there was no wind. Its voice came like thunder from beneath the earth. Odogwu. Chief Chidubem forced himself to step outside. "I am no longer Odogwu," he said, his voice shaking. The masquerade tilted its head. "You broke our covenant." "I did." "You confessed." "I did." "You have destroyed what we built together." Chief Chidubem swallowed hard. "I destroyed myself. You just helped me do it faster." The masquerade laughed, a sound like metal scraping stone. "You think confession will free you? You think saying sorry will undo what has been done? You belong to us, Chidubem. You always will." Chief Chidubem felt fear rising in his chest. But then he remembered Onyinye's face. He remembered the prophet's words, and he straightened his back. "I don't belong to you anymore." The masquerade stepped closer. "Then you will pay the price." "I'm already paying it," Chief Chidubem said. "I've lost everything. But I would rather lose everything and be free than keep everything and remain your slave." The masquerade was silent. Then it spoke, quieter this time, almost curious. "You loved her?" Chief Chidubem's eyes filled with tears. "I did. Love is a weakness." "No," Chief Chidubem said softly. "Love is the only thing that made me human again." The masquerade stared at him for a long moment, and then, without warning, it lunged forward. Chief Chidubem didn't have time to scream. The masquerade's hand, cold, impossibly strong, wrapped around his throat. "You cannot break what is bound by blood and darkness," it hissed. "If you will not serve, then you will become the sacrifice." Chief Chidubem struggled, gasping for air. But even as his vision began to blur, he whispered one final prayer. "God, save her, save Onyinye. Let my death mean something." The masquerade paused. "Foolish man, your death will change nothing." But as it spoke, something shifted in the air. A light. Faint at first, but growing stronger. The masquerade released Chief Chidubem, who collapsed to the ground, coughing violently. The light grew brighter, surrounding them both, and from within the light came a voice, not human, not earthly. "You have no power over one who willingly lays down his life for another." The masquerade recoiled. "This is our covenant. He is ours." "He was," the voice said, "but love has broken your claim. Take what is owed, but know this, his sacrifice will undo every curse you placed." The masquerade shrieked, a sound so terrible that windows shattered throughout the compound, and then it descended on Chief Chidubem. The last thing he saw was Onyinye's face in his mind, smiling, whole, free. At that exact moment, across the city, Onyinye was sitting under a bridge where she often slept. She was muttering to herself, drawing shapes in the dirt as always. But then, suddenly, she stopped. Her body went rigid. Her eyes rolled back and she collapsed. The few people nearby thought she had died. But then, slowly, she began to breathe again. Deep, steady breaths. When she opened her eyes, they were clear. Completely clear. For the first time in months, Onyinye knew who she was. She sat up slowly, looking around in confusion. Where am I?" An old woman who had been watching approached cautiously. "You are under the bridge, my daughter. You have been here many nights." Onyinye looked down at her dirty clothes, her bare feet. Memories came flooding back, not of the months of madness, but of everything before. Her life, her art, Chidubem, and then darkness. How long? She whispered. Many months, the old woman said gently. Onyinye began to cry, not from sadness, but from relief. She was back. She was herself again. By morning, news had spread throughout Onwulike. Chief Chidubem Anaso, Odogwu, was dead. He was found in his compound, lying peacefully on the ground. No wounds, no signs of struggle. Just gone. When Prophet Ejike arrived at the scene, he knelt beside the body. He placed his hand on Chief Chidubem's chest and closed his eyes. He paid the price, the prophet whispered. He offered himself. The police were baffled. The doctors found no cause of death. But Prophet Ejike knew. He had seen it before. A life exchanged for a life. That same morning, someone brought Onyinye to the church. She was clean, coherent, and asking for help. When Prophet Ejike saw her, he knew immediately. "You're healed," he said, tears filling his eyes. Onyinye nodded slowly. "I don't understand what happened," she said. "I remember being lost, broken. And then last night it was like something lifted, like a weight I didn't know I was carrying just disappeared." Prophet Ejike took her hands. "Someone paid for your freedom," he said gently. "Who?" The prophet hesitated. "Chief Chidubem. He died last night." Onyinye's face went pale. "He died?" "Yes, he broke the covenant. He confessed publicly. He lost everything. And in the end, he gave his life so that you could be free." Onyinye sank into a chair, her mind reeling. She didn't know how to feel. Anger, grief, confusion, gratitude. All of it swirled together in her chest. "He destroyed me," she whispered. "He did," Prophet Ejike said, "but he also saved me." "He did." Onyinye buried her face in her hands and wept. Chief Chidubem's funeral was a lonely affair. His wife did not come. His children did not come. His former friends and business partners did not come. Only a handful of people stood at the graveside, Prophet Ejike and a few church members. And Onyinye. She stood at the back, silent, staring at the coffin. She didn't know why she had come. Part of her hated him still, but another part of her understood. He had been a slave to darkness, and in the end he had chosen to break free, even if it cost him everything. After the brief ceremony, as people began to leave, Onyinye approached the grave. She stood there for a long time, saying nothing. Then, quietly, she whispered, "I forgive you," and she walked away. In the end, Odogwu learned too late that no wealth is worth the weight of a broken soul. Thank you for watching this tale to the end. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe to Tales by Larinzy, the home of stories that teach, warn, and awaken. More deep stories are coming. Turn on notifications so you never miss out on our thrilling tales. Till our next tale, stay blessed.